Hello, hello. Welcome to today. I cannot see you. Oh, hello. Bringing in healing sounds of 432 hertz of gorgeousness. Okay. Let's tap into the energies of today. Yes, I'm wearing a Conan shirt. Okay. I used to collect Conan the Barbarian comics when I was younger. So this is probably a shirt that I had back then because I wear things to death and beyond. Okay. Duality. This is it. This is integrated shadow. This is recognition of the light and the dark working together, being one, right? This whole love and light, yes, that's what we choose, but we also embody the shadow. We have to, because that's the rule of living in this earth, on this earth, right? We're living in in a world where light and shadow is part of the dimension, right? Just like the things that make something look three-dimensional is the beautiful interplay of both the light and the shadow, the highlights and the shadows, right? This is what creates form. This is what turns something from a flat into a solid. Duality helps you make peace with your inner duality. It helps you live in balance, oneness, and harmony so you can continue on your path to cosmic consciousness and discover life through enjoyment and play. Yes, because that's ultimately what we're here for, right? Once you have gone through the work of getting yourself to the top of the mountain, it's hard work, it's grueling. You know, we're having to make tools, we're having to make things on the way just to survive, just to get to the top. But now we're at the top and we're waiting for our crew, our soul family, our life partners, our people to meet us there. And so we have this summit time, right? And it's a period of allowing our nervous systems to transition from the uphill grind or out of the uphill grind, okay? Because now it's about reserving energy, it's about self care, it's about rediscovery of who, or a discovery of who you are now, someone who is not struggling to get to a top of the mountain. And during the process, there was also the necessity of integrating and reclaiming parts of ourselves that we have lost and our shadow versions, right? This is how we see into the wholeness of who we are, is by facing our shadows. Shadow versions of self are those versions of self that feel less than, that feel that respond with jealousy or with spite, with these are all unrealized shadow versions of self. So when you look at somebody else and you're like, or you recognize a part of you that's like, oh, well, look at them. What, you know, they get all this stuff and things must have come easy or whatever, like that you start to create a narrative to vilify the other person. when you start to go down to the root, you find that you're actually comparing yourself, and there is this lack mentality, this version or part of you that doesn't think that they're capable of being the same or doing the same. And it's also this recognition that we're not supposed to be the same. We all have our things that we're offering. So anyways, that's a whole tangent on duality and the shadow version of self, right? We are very complex creatures, and this is how our shadow versions are depicted as demons, right? Because when we deny them, when we refuse to see or acknowledge these parts that are us, they can wreak havoc. They can cause damage to your life and to other people's lives by how you respond or engage or entertain those shadow thoughts, right? And so, but it's all part of the process of revelation. It's all part of the shining the light on those parts to heal, because those parts are fractured parts of the soul that need love and attention, right? This is about um, the dragon being wild and untamed, and we think it is separate from us. We think it is this creature that must be destroyed or denied, right? And that dragon sneaks out in the middle of the night and burns things to the ground, right? And then we're left looking and going, oh, that dragon sure is bad, right? But then when we look in, we find that this dragon is a part of us. This dragon is a version of us, and it needs love and attention. And then once you heal it, once you integrate it, this dragon becomes your fierce protector and the protector of all those you hold dear, right? And is a necessary part of who we are, because there are things that need to burn away. There are things that we need to cut free, to sever away from us. And this is part of your shadow integration. Okay, that seemed like a long time. So, without further ado, let's go. And we got Hagalas at the bottom. And that is about the releasing and the sharp sting and upheaval. It's kind of like a tower, right? It's this aha moment that breaks our brain, or this sudden communication that shifts our world, right? Whether internally or externally. Okay. Let's see what the runes want to add to this reading. The sun wants to come out again today. Yay! What do we got? Oh, Thura says, yes. When I was talking about the sharp sting, it made me think of Thurisaz, because this also, there mentions something about the thorn prick that wakes you up, right? The slap in the face that knocks you out of your autopilot and brings you back into now, into your now. Okay, Thursdays. Protection, passion, defense, conflict, and male potency. Okay, and look at this. We've got the intuition, we got the wolf, which is pack. Also lone wolf. We got the rose, beautiful, but also if you mishandle it, you get bricked. And the fire, burning away all that no longer serves. Okay, this is kind of the embodiment of your shadow versions of self, right? The fire is not to be feared, it is used to cleanse and to purify and to burn away all that no longer serves, right? The rose, this beautiful example of shadow integration, right? The shadow version of the rose is the thorns, and it serves to protect. Okay. The wolf protects his pack and does not back down from a challenge. Unlike the bull, who stands his ground unless significantly provoked, the wolf takes the fight to his adversary. He is driven by a passionate internal flame that can warm but also burn. If you don't heed the wolf's growl, he will eventually bite. Thurisaz has an element of chaos, destructive natural forces, aggression, and conflict. These are united for the purpose of defense and protection. It can also symbolize a potent male sexuality, instinctual will, vital eroticism, and a regenerative catalyst. It represents a tendency towards change through catharsis, purging, and cleansing fire. Thurisaz is the sharp and painful stab of the thorn that jolts us awake and into awareness. Okay, back to element of chaos, natural forces, aggression, and conflict. Okay, so this made me think of nature. So shadow aspects of nature are the destructive forces, but we can see that it is part of the whole, right? We need to have the destruction of things, the tearing down of things, the breaking down of things, because that fertilizes the soil for new things to grow into, right? So too are you. So too are you. Okay. So let's get the tarot cards going and flowing. And the male potency, okay? So I'm getting the masculine energy is the action. So taking action. And this is also part of that integrated shadow thing, right? Your shadow self is your action self, like the sun burns, but also gives life, right? Yes, duality is everything. And this is why it is important to do the shadow work. You can't not do the shadow work. I think, based on my experience, the work is about reclaiming all the fractured versions and parts of self that we leave scattered throughout our lifetime, right? This is why there's talk of healing the inner child. It requires a revisiting of all the times when your inner child didn't get what it needed. And this is why the work is not easy, because it's a revisiting of periods of time that were painful. And yeah, it's like reopening a wound, but it's also like removing a dagger. You know how sometimes once you remove the dagger, it bleeds more? That's exactly it. But once the dagger's removed, it can heal, right? Can't heal with the dagger stuck in it. Okay, lots of metaphors. Pick your favorite and roll with it. Whatever it makes you think and do, consider it and make it work for you, okay? Okay, what are we talking about other than our duality? Let us see. With our card stack for the day. Yes, interesting. This is like the masculine and feminine right here. And the warrior aspect, the shadow aspect. Okay, yes, you are the world. You are the children. You are the one to choose how you want to create the world you live in. Okay. Yes. This is exactly it. To be whole is to be integrated. To be integrated is to be balanced. To be balanced is to embrace your duality. Yes. And trust your intuition. Okay. This is also a very important part of it. This is part of the process of integrating, this is your little voice that points out when you are saying or doing something that is from an unhealed version of you, right? It's like, how are you feeling? What was that about? Was that true? Was that honest? Was that whatever the case may be? This is why it's an important part of the process, because you not only heal and integrate all those fractured parts of you, but you also build and develop the relationship with your higher self and your inner knowing along the way. You can't skip it, right? The coal can't skip the pressure in becoming a diamond. Okay, we've got the Eight of Swords. This is the importance of boundaries, okay? Boundaries around yourself while you heal, boundaries around others who are in various stages of healing, right? When you are confronted with someone else's shadow version of self, this is about recognizing, seeing, detaching, and moving on, right? Aha, you still have some things to heal. See ya, right? But, it's more of like floating down the river, and you're floating down with somebody, and then you notice that they're still kind of attached to things that are on the bank, and they're still turning around and looking behind them a lot, and that's slowing them down um, in the flow, right? Because we're all flowing at our own pace. And so these boundaries are also about um, not watching your tendency to join them, to wait with them, to interrupt your flow if it leads you away from people, okay? And this is another part of the process of healing and integrating, is becoming one who is not attached to um, to others, right? You're not you join with others because you're all flowing and going at the same speed or at the same uh, trajectory or whatever, right? And without judgment, it's not about somebody going faster or slower, right? It's just how this analogy with the river works. But awareness, boundaries, right, it's about maintaining your flow regardless of what's going on around you, and trusting that um, you will line up with others who are flowing with you, and that's a perk, right? That's not a necessity, because you don't need others, you enjoy others, because you're a queen of wands, okay? You are somebody in their authentic being, in their shining, charismatic, joyful, creative, passionate leadership Right? She's not sitting on her throne with a gaggle of people, right? Her entourage are cats and sunflowers, okay, and lions. Yes, because there's lion protection in the back. And yes, so maintaining this state of being, this self recognition, and protecting it, guarding it, right? This is your dragon who clears away any blocks, who sees things coming a mile away and flies up ahead and burns that tree fall across the water so that you can just float on by unobstructed, right? Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Okay, so a clump fell out, and I've been reading the clumps as their own message here. So we've got a King of Swords, okay, who is transformed and learning to speak their truth, and a high level of discernment. Okay, he holds the sword of truth and is surrounded by butterflies of transformation, and his eyes are covered because he's leading from the heart and intuition. And this King of Swords, remember, there's no gender in the tarot. It's the masculine and feminine aspects within each of us, right? So whether this is an aspect of you or someone in your energy field, that's up to you and your intuition, okay? But this King of Swords is leaving a situation or stepping away from a high level of security. Okay, this is the kind of boundary and security systems that have been keeping them protected, but at the cost of everything, right? When you create a boundary line of swords around you completely, there is, you can't, like, it's destroying or blocking everything from coming in, right? From the darkness, from the creatures, from the herders or the haters or whatever, but also the lovers and the bunnies and the things, right? Everything is, it's like an impenetrable uh, force field. But look at this strategic stepping out, okay, and reconnecting. It's like this was also blocking from the intuition here, right? It's an overcompensated defense mechanisms, and a stepping out, okay, and a stepping out. And this is part of what happens when you go through this transformation period process. You start to see, like, oh, I've got these old defense mechanisms up, that some of them are in place from when I was a child, that I put them up to protect me, right? And but you've grown, you're no longer that child. And so those same defense mechanisms that protected you as a child are no longer necessary now that you're an adult. But this is the integration, this is the healing process, is going back to that part, that time, that this is how you break down the defenses, right? You have to go back in time and see why that defense, that particular defense mechanism was created. And it's a replaying the story where your child version got the thing that it didn't at the time, right? You rewrite history in a way where you become the savior of yourself. Okay. And you then go into this state of balancing. You recognize the importance of balancing, centering, connecting, and having this balance in your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual realms, right? Connected to your spirit team outside of society. Okay, so through this transformation, this king recognized the old mechanisms and balanced them. Okay, and opened themselves up to receive messages. What kind of messages? Messages of love. Okay, yes, open themselves up to receive the love. And that's exactly it. It's like, okay, I'm safe, but then what, right? So beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so I think this is the process of transforming, of integrating, of recognition, of all of those things. So I'm just going to put these down in the grounded. I'm just going to ground that, root it, center it in. Okay, to the earth, and allow the healing energy of the earth's core, of the heart of the earth, to beat and flow through your feet. Okay, yes. Wow, beautiful. 27:27 on the timer. I just got Jesus is in the house. Okay. And the sun is out and I got hot. Okay. Yes. Beautiful. This is the light at the end of the tunnel. This is why we do this, because we recognize that we were living in the shadows. By denying the shadows, you inadvertently become the shadows, or allow the shadows to persist, to exist, to affect. And so while the sunshine, gorgeousness, beautiful, amazing, and lovely. Okay. Ooh. So we've got your spiritual garden tending to. Okay, this is your passion, your heart space, and connection to it. This is your evolution from the Nine of Swords to the Nine of Wands. Okay, from swords to wands. And this internal tending through your connection, this earth star chakra up to the soul star chakra and your solar plex here. Okay, and this connection, this tending of your spiritual garden leads to balance, right? Wholeness. This is often the twin flame card, the Four of Wands. because it's got the 1111, right? It's the two balanced masculine and feminine individuals coming together and creating this pavilion of abundance and joy and gorgeousness. That is this freaking card, okay? It's also very much attached to the solar chakra. Look at all that solar energy coming out of it, right? And that's beautiful. And it always starts within, right? People, you've heard it. If you want to change the world, change yourself, right? And it's because that's just the nature. That's just how it works. That's just how it works. I don't make the rules. Okay. Yes, starts within and then affects externally. Okay, so we've got confidently moving forward, forging your path, okay? And things starting off maybe a little bit new. There's like this apprentice like vibe because it's a page, right? So it's this moving forward now with your sword of truth, and you're transformed and you're heading in a direction that you don't know, right? So we have that. It's almost it's like a higher awareness of the now, and um a reestablishing of your ability to adapt and respond and being in your now, right? When you are driving back and forth to and from work and you're going the same route, it starts to become autopilot, right? It starts to just become this pathway that gets worn. You don't need to be as focused. You don't need to be as intentional. You don't even need to be as conscious, right? But when you are in an area and traversing um, something that is new, something that has never been before, your level of awareness, your conscious awareness, it's different. And this is what you're being asked for to do. And this is also what is going to bring you the best rewards. And this is actually what life is supposed to be about, right? Is this exploratory discovering, active, this potent male action, right? It's an active engagement, not a passive, uh, not a passive one. Okay. And then these last two cards, oh, we've got Judgment and the Tower. Okay, so Spirit coming in with some big guns at the end here. So this is your call of renewal, right? This is your breath of new life and rebirth as the phoenix from the flames. This is the understanding and the integration of your shadow and allowing the dragon's fire to consume you, because it's burning away the old versions of self that no longer serve, the old versions of self that was unhealed and um, competitive and self-deprecating, like all of those things. It's burning all those things away to ash, and then you are reborn as the phoenix. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. And this tower, okay, the tower is that moment of realization, is that real world physical thing that shakes things up, whether it's a mindset release, understanding, a shift in perspective, a flat tire that totally throws your regular mundane day into something a little more unknown, right? And it's about you getting really good at flowing, going with the flowing. Wow. Okay. Let's get. That was good. We'll ask for any more cards that want to come up in this reading. Or for this reading, want to be included in this reading. Okay, we got that one. Anybody else? No. Okay. So we've got protection, okay? And this is also protection and communication, but standing behind the things that you have to communicate. Okay, this sentinel, this protector, ready, not in attack mode, but ready for anything, right? Knights typically are movement of some kind, and swords are typically communication of some kind, right? So this, but for me and for this deck, he's always represented this protector, a guardian. And so this could be protecting your energy. This is part of your boundary setting, right? Is to be able to communicate clearly. No, I can't do that. No, I don't want to do that. No, that's not in the cards for me today, right? For whatever your reasons are, you don't need to give your reasons because you know you have all the information. And to try to convince somebody else is giving them power to convince you otherwise. It's like when you're trying to convince somebody else, you're actually, because of the mirroring projecting thing, you're actually trying to convince yourself. So you're leaving room, like there's a chance. So it's like it's up for debate, right? Other people can be like, ask follow-up questions or get you to extend more energy trying to convince them because they don't have all the information and they want to understand, right? And that's not to say that you don't have to explain things to people who you feel worthy of your explanation, but this is also like no is a complete sentence. And your choices are yours. Full stop. To do or not to do. Okay, and then the other one is this moving to calmer waters here. We've got suspicious characters walking around. What you doing? Uh-huh. I see you. There's an empty unit and somebody's going in. Okay, so this moving from choppy waters to calmer waters, this is something you are doing for yourself, right? By clearing away and removing the weight of other people's drama, right? This is another level of protecting your energy. When you get pulled into other people's stuff, it's like they're like, I can't hold this. Here, you take some of it. And there's a time and a place, right? But if you aren't sometimes people need to buckle under the pressure of the things that they are holding in order to get to this place, right? Get to this place of transforming. And it's not up to you to save people. It's up to you to be the example, to hold and to value and to heal. And then when others are like, I can't believe that this person didn't pick up all my garbage when I threw it at them, right? And then they're like, oh, well, that sounds weird when I say it out loud, right? Why do I have so much garbage? Right? But they won't get there. You'll actually prolong their process by trying to hold everything for them. Okay. Message for somebody. Yes. Let's see what else we got. Let's get a mushroom card today. See what the mushrooms have to say. And the rainbows are coming out, or they have been. Yes. And I've got tickly cat hair. Okay, we've got blue Laertiomyces. I don't know if I said that right. It is a 27 and it is discovery unknown. Okay. 27. A new discovery awaits you. And it's going to be like stepping into the unknown. So don't move forward with assumptions of what it's going to be like. Go in with an open mind and heart and allow it to unfold without expectation. Sometimes you are not meant to know what the unknown holds for you because you need to actually experience it. You may see it as negative. You may find it positive. Either way, know that it is important and exactly where you are meant to be. If things don't turn out the way you thought and you find yourself in a negative thought pattern, remind yourself to give thanks for the situation, even though you are not sure why it may be happening. It will most likely be revealed to you at a later date because it was a stepping stone for you to get somewhere else. And this is that surrendering to all things are working in your favor, regardless of how it looks on the surface, because all things are stepping stones getting you to where you got to go. If you could see the whole path ahead of you, would you take a step forward? Sometimes it's good not to know where you are headed because the road ahead may be too overwhelming. Take a stepping stone approach and move from one to the next without worrying where they are taking you. As long as you follow your intuition, you won't be led astray. If you are allowing logical and emotional decisions to override your intuitive processes, you will find too many pathways you can take. Intuition is key here. Be strong, be confident, and trust your gut. The unknown awaits, and it has many gifts for you. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Oh, spirit animals. Okay. We'll get a couple spirit animals for one spirit animal, please. Oh, thank you. Cheeky monkey. It threw down as one, but it's two. Okay. And look at this beautiful confirmation of something. We've got fire and water. Duality. Yes. Okay. We've got Fire Cobra. Pausing, waiting, the inner teacher. The cobra represents a teacher or spiritual guardian. The cobra hovers and watches, ever present, ever protecting, ever loving. The essence of the cobra is found deep within us in the form of the inner teacher and manifests externally um, in those special guides who've led us along our path. What would it feel like to be a student again? What are you ready to learn? Remember the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When in balance, a student of life, humble and wise. When out of balance, know it all, egocentric, and to bring into balance, taking a class and studying. Okay, and then we have the starfish. Beautiful, alluring, superficial, or shallow. The starfish is a natural and exquisite beauty, mesmerizing to all. Being around someone with starfish energy is a thrill, like you've been put under a spell of divinity itself. The problem is these creatures have been reliant on how they look or what other people think of them for so long that they may have forgotten their deeper callings. When this card appears, it's important to ask, am I being swayed by outward appearances? What dreams have I put aside to please others? When in balance, uplifting, artistic expressive, when out of balance, gossips and feels empty, and to bring into balance, positive friends. Beautiful. Okay, just a quick little charm or two. We got the dragon confirmation. Okay. Yes. Do you see it? The charms don't work as well with this format here, but so it is, okay? Dragon is going on the sun for all those things that I said: the healing, the integrating, the empowering, and the protecting. And we have the owl. Okay, this is your wisdom. This is your um, connection to spirit and your ability to see and feel and know the things if you trusted them. If you trust them. And we have uh, the divine, or Hecate, I guess. And it's typically the maiden, mother, and crone. And, but I've been using it a little bit more dualistically, where it's the inner child, the inner parent, and the inner wise one, right? And that balance, we need to be all of those versions of self as part of our wholeness, right? We need to be healing those versions of self by being those versions for us, for those versions of self. Yes, you know what I'm saying. Okay. And we've got the golden pineapple of abundance. Okay, because this is part of the stuff that's that you are forging towards, right? You are revealing your path with each step, and you are engaging actively with curiosity and creativity and confidence. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful love. Okay, there's the reading, the gorgeous reading for today about duality, transformation, confidently moving and being and seeing and burning away all that no longer serves. It's a process. Send love to all of the steps. They're all necessary and part of it. Okay? Love you, appreciate you. See you next time. Bye.